ready to go in about 5 minutes. My name is Brian Fisher, and I am the manager of the Prince George's County Police Department's Media Relations Division, and I'd like to welcome everybody here today. We're going to be joined by our county leadership to update everybody on a homicide investigation. Speaking to you today will be first our Police Chief Malik Aziz, followed by our County Executive Angela Alsobrooks, followed by Aisha Braveboy, the State's Attorney, followed by Miller L. House II, the Superintendent of Prince George's County Schools. So everybody should be walking in just a few minutes. I just wanted to give you a chance to get everything set up and get ready to go before everybody started. Thank you. everybody's making their way downstairs. We have a large contingency, and that's getting everybody together. So I think they're about to walk in. So I just wanted to say stand by.
Detective Bays and our lead detective, Shepard, for their dedicated work to making an arrest in this case. They were committed to arresting the person responsible for killing Jayda. Yesterday evening, they did. Detectives arrested a 17-year-old male from Glen Arden for her murder. He is charged as an adult. On September 11th, right after school, our officers responded to a call for a shooting in the 9800 block of Palomar Drive. Jayda was located suffering a gunshot wound and pronounced deceased at the hospital. Through various investigative techniques, as well as information provided anonymously to Prince George's County crime solvers, homicide unit detectives identified and arrested the juvenile suspect Thursday evening. The preliminary investigation revealed the victim was walking on Palomar Drive after leaving school when a fight ensued between two groups who were involved in an ongoing dispute. During the fight, the suspect produced a gun. Detectives believe the victim attempted to intervene when she was shot. The juvenile suspect is charged with first and second degree murder, first and second degree assault, and a firearms charge. It seems like we are here way too often, and I'm frustrated that the violent few are disrupting the education and the promising future of our great children of Prince George's County. Now that we've made this arrest, we're hoping to bring some degree of comfort to the family as we start this process, as we pass the baton to our state attorney to start the next step of justice. And we'll be following this case throughout, and we'll be monitoring everything that goes on with this case. For now, I'll pass it over to our county executive for a few remarks.
Good afternoon. I'd like to first begin by expressing the grief that I think is a collective grief in our community regarding the death of Jayda Medrano-Moore. Jayda was a star. I mean, in every sense of the word. She was a star in her school. She was a star as a part of Team Elite. She was a star in our community. And on the day of this incident, she was a star yet again and gave her life there trying to diffuse this particular incident. It goes without saying that all of us are just speechless, and we are just so devastated and so angry about the loss of Jayda. It shouldn't have happened. It didn't have to happen. What I can tell you as well is that I am just so proud of the men and women who investigated this case and who continue day in and day out to do their very best to investigate these cases, to begin to bring closure by way of arrest. The Prince George's County Police Department, led by the folks in this unit, now have above 70% closure rate, which is an outstanding rate. More than 7 out of 10 of these cases have resulted already in arrest. And so I want to thank them. I want to thank Chief Aziz for his leadership and thank them for what they continue to do. I also would like to say that we are looking forward to having our state's attorney and her team who have been involved as well in this investigation all along the way to bring justice to this family. And I can tell you that from the government standpoint, we continue to invest in the youth of our community. We have done so by way of sparing no expense to make sure that our children have every opportunity available to them through the Summer Youth Enrichment Program, where we have now hired every single child who applied for that program, from the Passport Program, where we are providing opportunities to our kids. We have opened a new mental health care and addictions care facility and are expanding beds to make sure that our kids have the opportunity to receive those services, telehealth services that we're providing now at the school so that families who are not able to get out during the day can then have those appointments virtually. We have invested dollars in the Hope in Action. So we have violence interrupters, after school programming. We have 15 or 16 nonprofits who are joining us to do this work of making sure we continue to spare no expense in funding programs that we believe will disrupt violence and give our kids opportunities to grow, develop, and to live. But it goes without saying, and I have said it now and will continue to say it until I am blue in the face, that we cannot do any of this work without the families, without our community members, who, by the way, really did step up even in this case. I'm told that we had more calls than we could even field from members of our community who called in to give their assistance, to give information. So I want to thank the public for helping us in this case, but it's going to take so much more of that to stem the violence that we are seeing, especially escalating among our children. I hear all the time, what else is it that the government can do? And let me just tell you this issue will not be resolved simply by the government. It will not be resolved by the police. It cannot just be resolved by the state's attorney. It must be resolved in the homes and in the communities of these children, from their parents to the aunties, uncles, godparents. Everybody has a responsibility to protect our children, to protect their lives and to prevent them from taking the lives of other children. So we will continue to do our part in investing in our children, in investigating these cases, prosecuting the cases, and then we ask the community to continue to do your part, because that's the only way we're going to stop this violence and preserve the precious lives. Our kids are too precious to give over to violence. And now I'm going to just turn it over, please, to our state's attorney, Aisha Brayboy.
Thank you very much, Madam County Executive, and also to my partner, Chief Aziz. As the Chief remarked earlier, we're here yet again for another press conference centered around senseless acts of violence involving young people in our communities for crimes that carry life sentences. I want to make that point very clear. These are serious crimes that carry life sentences. To our young people, you are not outsmarting the police. You are not outmaneuvering prosecutors. You will not scare your peers into silence. They will speak up, and they have spoken up in this case. And then you will be held accountable. You know, it is now our turn in this justice process as prosecutors to see this case through. We work continuously with our police department as we continue to investigate any case, even after charges are filed. But it's really the community. We are anchored by you. We are anchored by the community, and you will help us deliver justice for Jayda Medrano-Moore. I am confident that with the help of this community, we can get justice. But also with the help of this community, we want to save lives. I love our young people. I care about them. I grew up in this community too. So I see myself reflected in every young person in our public school system here in Prince George's County. And I know their potential. I know it. I'm one of you. I'm one of you. But you have to understand we have a job to do, which is to protect our community. And so when you make decisions, we have to make decisions. And the decision of my office is to hold you fully accountable and responsible for your actions. So just understand, this is not the first time, it's not the second time. Unfortunately, we have, in many cases, held young people accountable for adult crimes in adult court. So it's really important that our young people understand that and know that the decisions you make can and will affect the rest of your lives. So thank you very much, again, to all my partners, and I believe I'm passing it over to our new superintendent.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon. As our district attorney indicated, I'm Millard House, the superintendent of schools with the Prince George's County School District. And I want to start off just simply thanking the leadership of our police department. Our police department is a dedicated, focused organization that truly did the work that was necessary to ensure that we brought the perpetrator to justice in this particular case. We do, unfortunately, have the loss of a life, a sister, a daughter, a sibling, a individual that had befriended several individuals in this community, and that is a tragic, tragic situation. As you may know, Jayda was a PGCPS student, and this accomplishment in terms of cracking this case truly underscores their commitment in terms of the police department in reference to safety and justice within our community. I think you heard it from our county executive, you heard it from our top attorney in this community, that this is extremely important as we move forward in terms of the safety of our community. As superintendent, I'll be calling upon community leaders to really unite and work together collaboratively in an effort to ensure that we can be only as focused as we can be to achieve what's necessary to have our students in a safe environment. I want to also ensure that we're working together and continue to make the efforts that we need, ensuring that our schools, our neighborhoods, our communities are as safe as possible. As superintendent, I am committed to making certain that I work closely with all of the leaders that you see before us today to make certain that that does happen. And with that being said, I'll turn it back over to Chief, and just again, a big thank you to everybody involved behind us in reference to the efforts that have occurred over the course of the last 4.5 days. Thank you.
With that, we'll take a few questions. No, right here first.
I have a bunch.
We'll just get one right now.
Only one?
It's a lot of people in the room.
So, just as far as what you can say about the 17-year-old, can you confirm whether this young person is a student at the school and how this person got the gun?
Well, I can confirm I don't know how this person got the gun right now. It's still an active investigation, and that person is not talking to us at this point, so we don't know how that gun was obtained at this point. As far as was he a student, I think the school system would be better to confirm was he a student or not.
Can you say, Mr. House, whether
We can't confirm that both were students.
DuVal, at DuVal?
No, one DuVal student, one Flowers High School student.
So the victim is DuVal, and then the suspect.
Step over here. Yeah, just step over. We had a super step over here.
The victim was a DuVal High School student, and the assailant was a Flowers High School student.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Can you tell us anything about whether or not this young suspect is a catch-and-release type juvenile? Has he been handled by your department before or the system, as far as you know?
As far as we know, the answer is no. We don't have any record that we have or we have obtained that says he had been handled by us, was any habitual student, a violator, or anything like that at this point in time. This does not appear to be that case.
Can you tell us anything about the alleged beef that was going on between these two groups of young individuals that collided? Share with us anything about the local scene.
Well, from what we know now, was some type of petty beef involving, individuals as young people get involved in with each other. Somebody said this. It's maybe another, opposite sex involved. All those kinds of things have come into play with these two groups who were fighting for really no reason. We've seen this before throughout history, where young people have become involved in altercations that have been verbal, and then they have turned to fights, fist fights. Going to school is a great opportunity. It's the best thing to do. Meeting a fight after school is a bad idea. Bringing a gun to that fight is an even worse idea. And so that's what you were talking. It went from words, exchanges, ideals, petty beef, to producing a weapon and subsequently killing young Jayda Medrano-Moore.
Chief and
Brad?
Fairhouse County Executive, this crime happened this week. We had a hearing in Annapolis. The head of the Department of Juvenile Services sort of went on a preemptive strike, kind of diminishing with some statistics the impact of juvenile crime in the community. The legislature is being asked to make some changes. The legislature pushed back against one of your own offices. What do you make of this big battle going on right now about what the right approach is to deal with this juvenile crime?
I think this murder alone, if we lost one child, and in this case, Jayda Medrano-Moore says it's a very, very serious problem for us. Now, everybody else can crunch the data and do whatever it is they do there, but I can tell you what the facts are. The facts are, for example, last year we arrested for the first time more youth than adults for armed carjackings. The facts are that we also are seeing increasing numbers of these shootings. Our youth are involved in escalating violence, and the impact is what we are focused on. The impact is that we are seeing young people who are not only victimizing their own community members, but who are victimizing and killing each other. Now, from our standpoint, and I'm sure I speak for all of those who are involved in this team with me, the loss of life is breathtaking. And if it was one life, that would be too many. If we had one victim, that would be too many. Somebody, all of us, need to continue to do everything we can to make sure that this stops. We've done it here. We are arresting at a rate that is really admirable. You don't see these kinds of closure rates across the country. 7 out of 10 of these are resulting in arrest. You see the prosecutors here with her team, and they're investigating. The government is sparing no resource. But there's a whole ecosystem. The Department of Juvenile Services has a role to play. Parole and probation has a role to play. The court system, this is an ecosystem. And every part of it, the parents, communities, godmamas, aunties, dads, moms, everybody has a role to play. And what we are saying now is everybody should be singularly focused on not, quarreling about, whether one way or another, the number. The impact on our community is unquestionable. It's unquestionable. People deserve to live in places that are safe, and our kids deserve not to die right near their schools and in their homes and communities. That's what we feel.
To be clear, Jayda was not part of the group. She was multiple, and the troop was really already there, right? Is that clear?
No, that's not. She was there. I don't want to characterize her as being part of a crew, okay? But she was there, and a fight was there, and these people are known. And she stepped in between that when a gun was produced. And all people can watch a fight. I don't think young people should be participating. That's a part of the participation that's going bad. But she was not part of any crew that we would say that right now. She was there. The fight was happening. She knows these individuals. She's related to an individual. She steps in to stop that. And that right there, a person with a gun at a fight shot her and killed her. Well, I'm not, the dad is not here, so I can't speak. I didn't read it, I didn't hear it, so I'll just go with whatever the dad told you. I'm sure that's what he meant. Go ahead.
Yes, I know it's still early on in your investigation, but do you know where the suspect was all this time? He was arrested, the suspect was arrested on Thursday.
Yeah, well, we don't know exactly where the suspect's movement were. We know that he was out. He was doing out and about. He was talking to people. He was going to living his life as if this did not occur. At every opportunity, he could have stood up and said, hey, this is me. We were looking for him. We put it out there. Other people had to tell it and say it. Our great community heard our county executive give praise to our community for stepping up. We ask them to step up. We come here. We say call Crime Solvers, call our homicide unit, call our tips line, give us any information any which way you can, and they did, and they told us about it. At any point in time, he could have done the same thing, but he didn't, and he left it to these fine men and women who are standing over here behind me to do their job as the great investigators of this county and in this nation to find him, which they did, but right in the back.
A couple of questions, Chief. First of all, for you, these 5 involved students from both schools?
The students attended.
Yeah. Students from Flowers and
Students were at DuVal High School, and some students who were at Flowers.
Okay. And second, Mrs. Alsobrook, you say that Isaac, obviously another student, murdered another student as a suspect, but what is the next step for definitely end this gun violence involving juveniles?
Well, as I mentioned, the government is making every investment we can to ensure that our kids are productively engaged, meaning we have, for example, invested in the Summer Youth Enrichment Program. We have a leadership program. We have a passport program. We have also collaborated with Hope in Action. So during the year, we have about 15 or 16 nonprofits who are working with us on the ground in communities for after-school mentoring, to have violence interrupters. We have funded now a new mental health care and addictions care facility. We have a crisis mobilization center that is opening also at the end of this year that the government has also invested in for mental health to expand behavioral health services. We are working, again, to make sure that we're investing in the police department, growing the numbers of men and women who can work on this department. So we're doing everything we can from the government side, and the thing that we have to continue to do is to urge families, to urge community leaders, to urge everyone else in this ecosystem to get to work, to make sure that they are doing their part also to protect these children. Many of the children who we are seeing, first of all, they're under 16. They are not responsible for themselves. We continue to ask the question, where are their parents? The grandmothers, the aunties, where are those folks who have an affirmative responsibility to keep safe their children? We're going to do our part. The prosecutor's going to do hers. The police will do their job. But the ones who we are seeing in the streets who are participating in violence, their parents likewise have a tremendous role to play in ensuring that their kids are safe and that they are not dying or killing other people.
You and then over here.
Have you recovered a weapon, and was it a ghost gun? I noted it only fired one time, which suggests jamming or something.
Well, we have not recovered the weapon at this time. Our detectives are working diligently and following up on leads, but we do not have the gun, the weapon in our possession and our protective custody at this time. Over here.
Understanding that two groups were involved, are you guys looking into holding anybody else responsible for anything at this point, or just the person that pulled the trigger?
Well, as you, in any case, in any homicide case or a case involving this type of violence, we are looking at that. We're making sure that we have the right person now. We're making sure that those people who were involved, that their roles were what they say they were. And we're going to figure that out here very shortly. But you know, investigations are very tedious, and we make the moves the right way in the first place, and that's what they do best. And you know, it could come down the road or not. Right at this point in time, the answer is no. We're gonna go right here. She hadn't asked yet. I'm gonna get back to you. I know you got 10 questions. Go ahead.
This is to the superintendent. Have we seen any positive results in having clear backpacks? Has that been something, of course, I'm sure that was a part of the plan to make sure that we can see what these kids are bringing into school. So have we seen that been a positive act, something positive within creating that? And hopefully it wasn't a case where they were hiding it somewhere else. Did they have a clear backpack?
We don't know that, first of all, that the gun was ever in either one of our schools, quite frankly. But as we talk about the backpack, the process of ensuring that clear backpacks are in each one of our high schools, of course, we're starting off in a phased-in process. DuVal High School was a part of the second phase, which would have been in October. But we went ahead and moved forward with the execution of that, the installation of those units at DuVal, essentially the day after this tragedy. The process has gone well. We feel like our community, we feel like our students, we feel like our staff are excited about having that sense of security in our schools. So we'll continue with the process and ensuring that each one of our high schools eventually has all of this equipment and has the opportunity to finish the installation process at some point this school year.
All right. We're back. We got you now.
I just want to make sure I understood, you're not expecting more arrests, that's just a quick, making sure I.
Well, I wouldn't say we're not going to expect more arrests. We're investigating it. These investigations are ongoing. If our detectives find that someone did something other than what we know right now, and it can result in a charge, we're going to charge them. But we don't have anything going forward right now.
And you mentioned that you hadn't talked to this suspect. Does this go back to the juvenile reform where you can't talk to these young people because you have to get parental permission, as has come up in prior press conferences?
Well, exactly. I think you heard the acting deputy chief O'Lear. He's out here, who was talking to the committee just a couple of days ago and speaking up on this issue. I think this plays right into it, that we have to be able to do some things and get in regards to due process and rights and everything else, but to resolve some of these issues, even with the public safety exception, that some things need to occur. And this plays right into it. I will expound because the questions asked, earlier. When we have dug into, we have become entrenched in a singular ideology that our position is the only position that matters, and that right there causes us to have a divide. There are many solutions to getting to the results, positive results. And what we have in these laws, whether they are reformation laws or otherwise, what we have is the inability to see that there's a solutions from all sides. We're going to have to, in this delicate ecosystem that the county executive mentioned, that involves all of these cogs that need to work together to have the greater good for young people, for emerging adults and otherwise, that we have to actually hear and listen to what other groups and other people are saying. Some people may have this idea to tell us that we actually do not see what we see. It's the David Copperfield syndrome is what I named it. We actually see what we are seeing. The community, they see what they're seeing. They're experiencing what they're experiencing, and it is our obligation. We are obligated. It is necessary that we sit together, that we come up to viable solutions, and we do not become entrenched in a singular ideology to believe our position is the only position that will get us to the end of the road. This has caused a great divide right here. And that is what we cannot accept, because the residents, the community members, have expressed to us that they will not accept this. So who are we speaking for? They want us to sit down together. They want us to work together in this system, and they want us to come to meaningful results. And those results mean accountability, they mean responsibility, they mean transparency, and they mean trust. That's where we're at.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everybody.
I forgot. These outlets for children to keep them engaged. I'm sorry, I meant to give you that website.